Welcome to the Holeinthewall Business Podcast with Bill and James. I'm James Groves, and along with my business partner, Bill DeMent, we want to share our journey as small business owners with you. As owners of Holeinthewall Drywall Repair, we will attempt to peel back the curtain of owning a small business in the trade service industry and talk about the many adventures of owning a small business. Hey, Bill.
James, good morning to you.
Good morning.
How are you?
Outstanding.
Hey, I want to ask you, how many times have you been to your doctor and they said to you, I've got a guy you need to meet? Do you know that happened to me recently?
Yeah.
I was in, and I'm going to give her a shout out, Sharon Sibley. I've been doctoring with her for almost 25 years, and was in for a physical, and she's been kind of following Holeinthewall through the years, and she says to me, I got a guy you need to meet. And within a day or two, she texted me this number for this hillbilly, I guess, because he lives up in the mountains in North Georgia. And it was Mark Holloway. And so we texted back and forth a time or two, had an hour and a half long phone call, which wasn't long enough.
Right.
And then I said to Mark, love to have you on the podcast. You got a great story. I love your business model. You just need to come share this story. And he says, well, I'll come. I'll come to Orlando. I said, well, you know, we can do this by Zoom. You don't have to travel. He goes, no. I've got a couple other things I can do while I'm there. He says, I want to come and see what you guys have.
Made the journey. And actually, we just had an hour-long pre-show because it's just so intriguing to talk to someone who's got just a very similar mindset that we do, entrepreneurial spirit, and just a really all-around good guy. So I'm going to introduce him. So Mark Holloway, you own Property Stewards. Welcome to the show.
Welcome in, Mark. Thanks for traveling to Orlando.
You're a home services type guy like we are, so we obviously relate immediately. So thank you for coming to the show.
Well, I'm honored to be with you guys on the podcast and very humbled that you would even want to hear our story. So I'm so glad to be here.
Awesome. Well, listen, I would love I know because I just talked to you for an hour, but I would love our audience to kind of know kind of who you are, where you kind of came from, what made you want to start Property Stewards? What do you do? I mean, give me all the juice.
Man, it's funny in life how you, at least in my case, you fall backwards into something that you didn't even know was coming. And I think there's probably always been an entrepreneur in me. My brother and I in Tacoma, Washington, we were filling out handwritten full notebook sheets of paper offering yard work and stuff. I was 12, he was 13, and we would break the law and put them in people's mailboxes. That's kind of illegal. And so we did that, and that really put a fingerprint on my heart that I didn't know was there. That entrepreneurial thing is if you work your butt off and you get out there and you hustle, you can actually afford candy and Coca-Colas and ice cream and a new bicycle. And so that was back when I was 12 years old. My father was serving his second tour in Vietnam during that time period. And I think that's when there was probably an entrepreneur in me that had been awakened and then took a very, very, very long nap. And in 2007, we had an opportunity to move from South Georgia, where it's 104 degrees and gnats find every orifice on the human body, to move to the mountains where we literally, we sometimes sleep with the windows open under blankets in July up in Appalachia. There's some beautiful mountains in North Georgia. Well, we had an opportunity in 2007 to move there. At the time, I had two teenagers, my wife and I, and didn't know what we were going to do. I'd been a vocational pastor for about 15 years, and we had a chance to move to the mountains. And we bought this house up on a ridge line, and it had green mold on the lap boards. And I told my wife, I said, honey, I'm going to go buy a legit pressure washer, not a piece of crap electric thing that you buy at a box store. So I did, and I started washing my own house, and we had landed in Rabun County, which is a resort mountain community. People from around the world come to our county. The Appalachian Trail goes to our county, the Chattooga River, where the movie Deliverance was filmed. There's world-class fly fishing, rock climbing, kayaking, you name it, and people come. And so we had been there on vacation a number of times, and so we ended up there, bought a home, and I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know how to feed my family. And I think probably the most central business feature to any business model is hunger motivates. You know, when you're hungry.
Oh, it's a great motivator, no doubt.
Yeah,
about
when
it.
you're hungry, and I needed to feed my family. But I didn't. I had advanced college degrees, but graduate of the University of Florida School of Journalism, 1983, and a bunch of other advanced degrees. But here I am, I buy this pressure washer. I didn't set out to buy or start a pressure washing company, not at all. I just started washing my own house because there was mold on it, and it's a cedar home. And what I inadvertently did was I was stripping off the stain and revealing underneath it this beautiful natural cedar lap boards. We live up on a ridge. We've sold that home and built our dream home now, but there was this older gentleman driving by up the mountain to pick up his golfing buddy, another old dude, and he was driving past my house. It's a dead end up the mountain, and he was watching this house being transformed. I didn't know I was being watched, and so one day, his name is Uncle Donald. He calls his nephew, who's an orthopedic surgeon in Flagler Beach, and he was Dan Quayle's surgeon when Dan Quayle was vice president. Anyway, I get this, what I thought was a random phone call, and I thought it was my buddies in South Georgia pranking me. And this guy goes, "Hey, can you make my house look like yours?" And I said, "Okay, who is this? Who's pranking me today?" And they said, "My name is Dr. Denny Alter, and I'm an orthopedic surgeon in Flagler Beach, and I own a cabin in the mountains. And don't you live in Tiger, Georgia?" And I said, then I realized, oh no, this guy's real.
Yeah.
And he says, "Can you make my house look like yours?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know what you're talking about." He goes, "Well, aren't you refinishing your own home?" And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "My uncle's been watching you refinish your home." And he says, "We're going to be up in a few weeks. Can you make my house look like yours?" And I realized, Lord, I don't know what you're doing, but you're doing something here, because I had bought this $499 pressure washer and started washing my own home. And, you know, I was going to fake it till I make it. I was going to figure out what to do this new season of my life. I was 46, got 2 teenagers, and now all of a sudden I become the local niche log home refinishing expert. That summer, our house, the ink wasn't even dry on the purchase of our home. And here I am going to go refinish this guy's log home. I brought in a contractor who all he does is build log homes. It seemed like a no-brainer at the time. He didn't know how to refinish log homes, it turns out. He knows how to build them. But I brought him along, and I gave a price, and our clients, they said sure. This doctor said sure. They would then become really good friends. And lo and behold, dadgummit, I'm a log home refinisher. I studied pressure washing hardcore. I didn't want to do anything wrong. So I told Carol, I said, like weeks earlier, I said, "I'm just going to buy a really good pressure washer, and this will really date me." I said, "I'm going to pass out flyers just to pay for the pressure washer." Mm-hmm. Well, next thing, I'm pressure washing a log home. Prior to that, I washed a lady's roof, and I'd done some rock climbing, but I didn't know what I was doing. So I climbed up on this lady's metal roof and tied myself in with a rope. And I'm pressure washing this lady's roof. And then I would do this cabin, and I started realizing, shoot, there's some money in pressure washing. So as time would go by, the paint store started saying, "This guy doesn't use bleach. We use something different, and I can spray it all over myself, and it won't ruin your fabric, your cushions on the deck." And so I got known as the guy that doesn't use bleach, and because it's cheating to use bleach. So yes. I studied the industry. I studied how do you wash a metal roof and not ruin the roof or kill yourself. And so I bought this pressure washer. Oddly, we have a warehouse, and oddly, as time would go by, you go through a lot of pressure washers. I mean, they make you a lot of money. But this particular pressure washer I bought to wash my own home, he just started to run out of a little compression, but he still worked. And I thought, I'm just gonna put him out to pasture. I never threw it away. I didn't send it to the recycle bin because it still worked. And I could name lots of pressure washers. But anyway, I still had, to this day in 2026, Old Red is in the warehouse, And he's like an old friend. And I know one day I'm going to probably get introduced on a stage. And I'm going to say, well, the guy that helped me start the company, he's backstage and he can't walk. So we're going to wheel him out. And you're going to think some old guy in a wheelchair, and it's going to be old Red.
I love that.
And so that pressure washer, it turned into $1.3 million in sales just 2 years ago, a $499 investment. And so we started out as a pressure washing company, and then I washed this lady's home on the lake, and we live up in a very beautiful mountain lake resort area where there's really poor moonshine folks, really poor mountain folks, and then there's really wealthy folks that have their getaway homes there. And she calls me one day, and we'd washed her home. And she says, she's a real powerful, strong woman, and she says, Mark, you washed our home. Can you take care of my home? And I said, I don't know what you're talking about. As time would go by, she would be our first A-list client. We call them Property Stewards A-list clients, and we don't have B-list clients. But she says, you did such a good job washing our home. Would you take care of my home? I said, what are you talking about? And she goes, well, just walk through the house and make sure it smells right, looks right. And I said, okay. And I said, so how often you want us to do this? She goes, I don't know, maybe twice a month. And she would become what years later we called our A-list clients. That's really central to our business model. So she was helping us build the airplane as we were flying it. And to this day, I mean, her story is one of my favorite stories to tell, because we started taking care of clients' homes. Now we had one A-list client. We wouldn't call them that for 10 years. But now I know how to put eyes, ears, and hands. In fact, we own those words. We are your eyes, ears, and hands when you can't be. And we registered that with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. So that's our slogan. And then this doctor called us a year later. We'd refinished his log home, and he goes, hey, can you take care of our home? And I was like, okay, been there, done that. I know how to do it.
Right.
And so we priced it. And then a third client came along. And again, we didn't call them A-list clients, but in the franchising world, there's this little tricky thing called reoccurring revenue.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. And
so now we have these three clients. Well, fast forward, and so we started really taking away the pain for our clients, from doing light remodeling to gutter cleaning to window washing. Basically, the word no was never in my lexicon. And that opened up so many doors. If you are willing to, two things: show up on time and do what you say you're going to do. And if you don't say no, well, in a very small mountain community that triples in population from April through leaf season, there's just a very limited talent pool. And of the talent, they may be really talented, skilled tradesmen and women, but they may not have any integrity. So you may have skills, but you have even a smaller pool to choose from. And so I learned by not saying no, I won't come cut this tree out of your driveway. I just said yes. And one after another, the power of referral, these wealthy folks started calling me.
Yeah, you just became the go-to, didn't you?
And I'm the new kid. I'm the new kid in town. And there's these mountain men that know how to operate chainsaws. And, of course, now I own a whole collection of chainsaws. But I just decided to feed my family, because hunger is a really great motivator, that I would become all things to all people. And I really eschewed the idea of jack of all trades, master of none. You want to get in a fist fight with me, use that phrase with me, because you're basically saying you're not good at anything. So, but I would learn these different trades, and I would buy the tools that I would need for that job. I wouldn't do the Dave Ramsey warning and go buy a bunch of stuff and then try and figure out how to pay for it. But as time would go by, more and more of these clients would quickly develop a trust with us and start turning over their alarm codes for their homes and their keys and the combinations to their nice keypads on their doors. So in April of 2017, that was in 2007, in April of 2017, we had what we would begin to call A-list clients. And our company was Fresh Start of Raven. That was our Secretary of State, LLC, Fresh Start of Raven, because we would give your home a fresh start.
Nice.
People didn't know if we were a marriage counseling ministry or we only hired ex-cons. or only hired recovering drug addicts and alcoholics with a name like Fresh Start. And so our company, then we added another LLC, Fresh Start Property Stewards. And that's another LLC that we had because we started stewarding our clients' homes as if they're ours. And that's a very sacred word to us,
Right.
the word stewards and stewardship. So now we have this other hustle going on here, taking care of clients' homes. And in April of 2017, we had these same, because we didn't pursue them, they found us. Up in the mountains, trout just stay in the stream and wait for the food to come to them. It's like the trout idea. And we would just wait for the clients to come to us. And to this day, our clients find us because there's pain in their life.
Yeah.
And we take their pain away. And so we had 3 A-list clients in April of 2017. And I started doing the math. Wait a minute. I could be doing this in my 70s, just taking my little truck and go checking this little white-haired old man, just checking these homes. And I started doing the math. I was like, man, I could make a pretty good living. So I had 3 A-list clients. And I remember Carol, my wife, and I, she's amazing. I wouldn't be here today. I married way, way up when I married her. She's our CFO of our company. But I started doing the math. I was like, if we got 10 A-list clients, we'd be set. Mm-hmm. Just 10 A-list clients. And so we had heard in the grapevine that a mom and pop can take care of about 15 homes. Mm-hmm. So that April of 2017, I said, Lord, I have not because I have not asked. So I'm going to ask for 15 A-list clients in your time frame, whatever that looks like. I'm going to just ask for 15 A-list clients. So that was in April. In December of that same year of 2017, there's an attorney nearby, and he's over the estate of a big, large family estate up there. And he met with us, and he wanted us to take care of this home, a really nice home on 52 acres. And then he also had another home on the lake that was the overflow home for this big family estate, and the folks don't even live there. And we drove away that day. It was December of 2017. And I looked at Carol as we were driving away because he said, oh, by the way, totally different contract. I want you to take care of the estate, but we have an overflow home on the lake, and we want you to take care of that one. So that's a totally separate deal from the trust. And this is the attorney to this day. He's still over that trust. When we drove away, I looked at my wife and I said, 14 and 15. That year, we went from April to December. We went from 3 A-list clients to 15 A-list clients.
Wow.
And we didn't do door hangers. We didn't go knocking on doors.
That's crazy.
It's like the Lord just said to me, that's how big a boy are you? Mm-hmm. And I was like, wow. And now today, it's our flagship location. We have about 45 A-list clients. And
so I'm kind of curious, what was the light bulb moment for you, though, after you got to the 15 that you transitioned from not being, mom and pop to doing something more structured?
By then, I realized I could not be the roofing contractor, and I couldn't be the drywall repair guy, although I'd learned and onboarded all of these skills. So I started acclimating really almost from the beginning what today we call property stewards, good guys and good gals. And these are all folks, men and women in the trades. And I started onboarding them. And what I started realizing was a really bad business model is Charlie and Susie own a $5 million home. And because I've made it my business to honor my word, and now I know guys that can handle chainsaws and guys who are good painters and I would connect them with my homeowners. Something tragic happens after that. Now the homeowner knows the drywall guys, and that's free is a horrible business model.
Right.
Yes.
And so I'm connecting them. Then something even worse happens. Now I call Charlie and say, "Hey man, you made $50,000 on that roofing job. We talked about you not forgetting me, and you finished that roofing job 3 weeks ago." "Oh, dang, Mark, that's right, I forgot." "Well, can I meet you down at the donut shop?" And, "Well, sure." Well, then another 2 weeks goes by, and it felt slimy from the very, very beginning. And if you want me to punch you in your face, use that term kickback, because kickbacks are illegal. And so we figured out a system where our good guys and good gals step in, do stuff they're licensed to do, skilled to do. We figured out a system where we're not left out of the loop, and our clients are they love it. It's full transparency. And so our clients, and we figured something out, that clients that have getaway homes, they don't want to know the contractors.
No.
They don't want to be stood up by the contractors who don't show up. They have a golden window of 4 or 5 days at their getaway home, and they burn half of it waiting on contractors who may or may not show up. And the work ethic epidemic, or the lack of, is not just reserved to the mountains. It's probably here in Orlando. It's a character problem. And so what we do is we step in and we take all of that problem away. We become basically their project managers. So we decided that we're going to stop working for free and getting that so-called $500 referral fee or whatever. We have bypassed that in our business model with a pretty nifty approach.
So the niches, though, is that people need a one-stop shop, right?
Absolutely.
They just need a concierge that could just please take care of it, right? And we know a couple. We work for a couple here in Orlando, but they're all GCs, right? So they just sub it all out. But if you're really good at, you're trustworthy, right? So people trust you to be in their home when they're not there. So you're not going to rip people off. You're not going to, do stupid things in their home. And you do consistent good work, price almost becomes irrelevant.
We spiel a husband and wife. Typically, the client they're in the C-suite. You have chief attached to their name in some capacity, and so these are really successful people. But we go and meet with them in their home. Our business model doesn't even require brick and mortar.
Yeah.
Carol and I did what we did out of our sunroom for 13 years, the first 13 years of our business, and we franchised at the end of COVID. But when we spiel a homeowner, we're typically sitting on a $10,000 couch in a home with a decimal in it, a 2.8 or 4.9 or $5.7 million home. And I will look them in the eye, either me or our team. We usually go by twos to go present what we do. And we look them in the eye, and we're looking out a window over a beautiful mountainscape on a lake. And we look them in the eye and we go, James, Bill, we don't believe you should be penalized for having a home on the lake. And you literally see them sigh. Or, you know what, guys, or Mr. and Mrs. Smith, we don't believe you should be penalized for your success. Translation, we don't have a different price scale for the wealthy folks.
Right.
We know what our value is. We know what our business costs are. We know what payroll taxes look like. We know what workers' comp looks like. So we know what our time and our value is. And so we're not going to gouge folks. Well, from that very first conversation, our homeowners, future A-list clients, start to feel like, dang, the last dude doubled the price because he had to go through our gate.
Yeah.
And then he tripled the price when he got to our house, and he sees how big it is, and it's sitting on the lake, on a mountain lake, or in this case, on the ocean, or in a country club or whatever. And that's not fair. It's not fair to treat people that way. There's no integrity in that. Just because you're successful, your price triples, that's just not right. And so we began to build just a high level of trust. And it doesn't take a lot, because my dad was a combat officer, and he taught me, he says, son, try not to judge people, but be a good judge of their character. And usually within the first handshake, this isn't really proprietary. I know it's done, but I asked AI, I don't know, about 3 months ago, build me a client evaluation form. And we refined it a couple of iterations, but today is 140 points I will give you and your wife based from the very jump when we shake hands. Mm-hmm. If it's a good handshake, if I watch you and your wife and you're giving me really good eye contact, or if you ask me a question, you don't even stick around for the dad blasted answer, that's costing you points. But if everything goes well, it's 140 points. So we leave their home and we pull over somewhere while it's fresh, and one of our field team members or me or any one of our team, we whip out the client evaluation form, and guess what? If you don't score good, we're not going to onboard you as an A-list client.
Yeah.
Wow.
And in our world, a really good friend, I'm going to give him a shout out, Tim Lytle. He's in this area. He and his wife are amazingly successful Chick-fil-A owner-operators. They own 3 locations. They're in really rare oxygen. Now, he's a client. They started out as clients, and they've turned into friends, which is also rare oxygen. But he and I were walking down the sidewalk in our little mountain town, and I said, I want to try something out on you. I'm thinking about putting my Facebook status that's going to say something like, our clients don't come first. Now, I'm sitting here talking to a good friend now, but they're also clients. I said, our clients don't come first. My people do.
I like
and
that.
He stopped in his tracks, and I'll never forget, he looked at me and he goes, write that book. He says, in the Chick-fil-A world, customer service drives them. And I said,
yeah.
Our clients don't come first. We call them clients. Our clients don't come first. My people do. In other words, if I take care of my people who work with our company that are in your home, and they're in your home more than you are, if we take care of them and love on them and see them as humans first, as people first, not as employees, they're going to take exquisite care of your home. And so we know how bougie and mean some wealthy people are amazing, but
Yes.
some of them aren't, and they think their money can buy them everything.
Right.
And there's a phrase that I didn't mean to coin, but it goes like this. You know what, Bill? We're going to take a few days and we're going to reevaluate our business relationship with you moving forward. And that's when an A-list client can have an oh crap moment. They're about to fire me because I wasn't nice to them, or I was mean to them, or I talked down to them. And so developing our clients in this world is really important. We respect our clients. We love our clients. We grow close to some of our clients. In our CRM, we actually put your dog's name in our CRM, what your kids' names are, what schools, what colleges they're going to. That's all in the CRM. So that, and it's to really make sure that we're connecting with them, because their home, a lot of times a getaway home, has more memories attached to it than even their primary home back in Dallas or down in Jupiter. Because it's that getaway home that most folks really do unplug and embrace that work-life balance. And they have Thanksgiving meals, or they open up presents at Christmas at their getaway home. And so that's a really sacred space for us. And for us to get to steward that home is really important to us. And so when we put the word stewards in our company name, we did not do so lightly. We took a long time to really think through. We did not like property management, because that could be taking care of condos or Airbnbs, and we're not in the short-term rental place. And so when we just stayed away from the word property management, and we just went with, it was a brain session with me and my wife and a lady that owns a magazine that I write for. And she goes, well, how about property stewards? Because she kept hearing us say stewardship. And so then now when we franchise, we dropped Fresh Start. Because the consulting team in Canada, they were like, we are in love with those two words, property stewards. It's like school teacher or brain surgeon or jet pilot. We know what you're doing. You're stewarding our property.
Very
we're like,
descriptive.
So I'm going to take a breath. And
well, I'm curious, because I know you started with pressure washing, and I've heard you say that you were in a lady's house and you did some cleaning and some stuff. And having looked at your website, I understand that you guys do some very varied kinds of services for your A-list clients, like leaf removal or cleaning gutters, pressure washing still. Take a couple of minutes and just kind of run through the services that you guys do.
If it's legal, moral, and ethical, we will do it for you. Mm-hmm. If it's not, we're not your people. So if you need your gutters cleaned, and up where we are, you can have a home that's 60, 70 feet off the ground or more if it's on the side of a mountain. We have folks in the trades that if they don't have workers' comp and general liability, they don't even get to the table. They don't get to be on our good guy list. So if it's stuff we want to do, that we can do, or we're licensed to do, we'll do it. If it's not those things, we will still do it for our clients, but we will self-perform a bunch of stuff. And then we will outsource, or really insource, because folks in the trades in our community and in our franchise locations, and we're an emerging brand, those folks in the trades, the hole-in-the-wall drywall folks, they want to get in with Property Stewards, because you come into a community, and remember, our community is real small, so if you were to do apples to apples, you get in with the Property Stewards in Orlando, you have just walked in to however many A-list clients are on that portfolio. and you may never need another client.
Right.
So hole in the wall, you just have, property stewards. So that's just a, hypothetical. And so the things that we do, literally, we had a client, an A-list client, saying we ran out of time and we didn't get our dog to the groomer. We're going to be flying in on their private jet. And so we would have their SUV at the airport, but we got their dog the moment they arrived. One of our team members got the dog, took the dog in town, got it to the groomer. We have a client that they don't want to waste time when they come to their mountain home to go grocery shopping. So guess what? When they wake up in the morning, their brand of I think it's Perrier or it might be San Pellegrino is in the pantry, and there's bacon in the refrigerator. They wake up traveling maybe from Europe. They wake up and all the breakfast is ready. So that's the concierge side of things. Yeah. We do private home chef services. My son-in-law's an amazing.
I saw that on your website, yeah.
And my daughter, they're both out of the high-end restaurant world. So, I stick to it. If it's legal, moral, and ethical, we will do it, whatever it is, whatever pain point you have. And we don't say second home because a lot of our clients have more than 2 homes. And so we stay in that space of getaway home. There is triple, double, triple, quadruple the headache. Now, all of a sudden, you own 2 or 3 rooftops and 3 or 4 tankless water heaters. And now you're trying to manage 4 or 5 housekeepers, or now you have a getaway vehicle. A number of our clients have a vehicle that stays at the mountain house. And yes, we keep it on trickle charge, and we crank it up to make sure that when they show up, it's running. And so whatever you can think of that is involving taking care of a home, we do it.
Great.
We either do it internally or we bring in guys like y'all.
Well, I'm bound to ask now then, what's some of the odd requests you might have had?
Oh, my goodness. You don't call an HVAC guy for a wine room. We didn't know this at first. There's so much about the trades now that my team and we have Victoria and Terry. She's our director of franchise operations, and my daughter Victoria is our COO. Those 2 girls, they know so much. For example, you go into a wine room and it could be a cave, or it can be a room, 10 by 10 or 20 by 20, depending on your wine and whiskey collection. Mm-hmm. And the temperatures and the humidity is really, really critical. Well, you don't call an HVAC guy. Bubba's going to come in and he's going to put up a compressor outside. No, it's a totally specialized field. And so now if you call us, we've replaced enough of them for our clients. Now if you call us, we know what we're doing. We had a call, one of our clients, A-list clients, he's probably one of our Hall of Fame. We have some of the most amazing clients. He has a college kid that could not make the trip, and he was going to fly in, not to Atlanta, but another airport that's 2 hours away. So that's a 4-hour round trip. And if it's legal, ethical, moral, well, guess what? All those check boxes. One of our team, we drove over, met him at the airport, and brought him back. That's more in our concierge side of things that we do. So as we talk some more, if I have a real harebrained kind of crazy ask that an A-list client had for us, I'll certainly tell you. But there's a famous chef, really famous chef, and he was going to come up with his buddy, and it's the buddy. He's got 2 medical degrees, a doctor in 2 different areas, but his buddy's a really well-known chef, and he was going to come up, and they wanted a meal cooked. Now, my son-in-law, he wears a chef suit. He's a graduate of Le Cordon Bleu, and he wears a chef. I mean, he's a chef. Right. But you talk about nervous as a shot cat.
Yeah, pressure.
He's going to have to cook for this dude. So that wouldn't be too crazy of a request, but that one just popped into my head. And so my daughter and Brett, they go out and did the whole buy of the groceries, the food list, the wine list. They show up with everything. They're cooking in front of you, making all the noise while your whole friend group is just chilling, enjoying a glass of wine. They're in there making this amazing meal. Then they plate the food. Then they clean it all up, bust the tables, clean up the kitchen, and they're gone. And
that's crazy.
So that's not I don't remember what was on their list, their food list. But when you get somebody say we want Wagyu or whatever, so we've not taken a massage therapist yet. to a client's home, but I don't play a lot of golf. And every time I do, my whole body hurts because I don't swing a club like that every day. And I would probably think, yeah, a massage would be nice, but it's just a matter of time before one of our clients says, hey, my daughter's bridesmaids are all coming up.
Yeah.
And can we have a spa day?
Yeah,
and
that's
so
crazy.
we know how to outsource, but we do not put the burden on the homeowner to go find those people.
Yeah.
That's not why they got that home. Mm-hmm. And most homeowners think they have to.
Yeah.
So has there been a request where you said, heck no, I'm not doing that?
Nothing comes to mind. Again, our clients are really high caliber clientele. They're not going to ask us, hey, can you go get me a dime bag on the south side of town? Or we've never had a request that I remember that it would have been illegal or unethical or immoral to do it. And so we really, I got you one. This gentleman, to protect the confidentiality, because we have cell phones of some really cool people, some celebrity types, but he's a real successful, he's in the C-suite in his company in a Western state in the oil business. And he reaches out to us and he goes, I want to bring my friends from Texas. I want to bring them on to Lake Burton. You can look it up. It's a really cool lake where we are. And I want to take them fishing. But we don't want to go fishing. We want to go catching. We want somebody that knows where all the honey holes are on this lake. And I was like, we got you. And so at the time, he was a senior in high school. He's now on an athletic scholarship for fishing at one of the colleges in Georgia. So he's actually getting his...
I didn't even know there was such a thing.
Yep. So his name is Jarrett Giles, and we connect him with our client. And those dudes had a great time fishing because Jarrett knows where all the bass are, all the striped bass are. And so that's a request that's, certainly an interesting, and I'm a rock climbing guide. So I've taken clients rock climbing, and it's on a real rock face, on a real mountain at 5,000 feet elevation. And so that's an experience that sometimes that we deliver for them. So it's the sky's the limit. Now, if you were to ask me from a franchise standpoint, we pretty much have all the answers because we've had all the questions. However, we're in the South. But if you were to say, how do I get this snowmobile working? Well, we don't have any experience with snowmobile, but we'd go find out. But there aren't any snowmobiles. But I use that as an example. If we opened up a territory in Vail, we would be able to teach our franchisees real quickly.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that for a second. On the franchise side, obviously your flagship is, you're well known. You know all the things about your town. You want to look for owners. I'm guessing that you want to look for owners that actually have some connections inside their territories. And the territories you have are they're more specific than, say, ours. Ours are done by population, 250,000 population, X number of homes. So yours are really going to be limited to those kind of high dollar, high value A-list style clients, right?
Yeah, we've learned some things about wealthy folks. First, the conversation starts with this: wealthy folks take care of their stuff. Mm-hmm. Secondly, if they can pay that pain away, they will. So once you have that concept in mind, then we'll tell you this. There's 4 things we know where wealthy people like to have a getaway home. In the following 4 categories. They want to have a home on a mountainside with a view, or they want to have a home near some form of H2O. And I'm not being silly by saying it that way, but H2O is snow, so they want to have a home maybe in Vail or Breckenridge or Park City, or they want to have a home Hilton Head. That's still water, it's H2O. Or they want to have that home on a river or a lake or a stream. So it's really interesting when you bring in H2O into the equation of where a wealthy person wants to have a getaway home. They also may want to have a home where there's golf involved. We've got 2 franchisee candidates talking with us right now. They both, interestingly, I think we're going to work it out, but they both are interested in Pinehurst, North Carolina. It's a major PGA if you're a golfer. Well, there's 40 golf courses. I've done my homework, and ChatGPT and Grok and the others are really great. I can just ask, how many golf courses are there in Moore County, North Carolina? Boom, 40. I'm like, what?
That is crazy.
40. Well, wealthy people want to be either in so the final two categories of those four is they want to be in a golf community or behind a gate. So and you boys can go drive in your neighborhoods, go in a gated community and drive around at night on a Monday and look for the houses that have no lights on. Drive around on a Friday, and if you see those same houses with no lights on, wait a couple of weeks and drive around. This is as far as territories. Drive around. This is right in Orlando. Drive around and look at that same house and there are no lights on. More than likely, especially in the gated communities, there's no STRs allowed, short-term rentals. You probably are looking at a getaway home that somebody has, and it's an underground world. I didn't say illegal. It's just an underground world, the getaway home culture. You don't go driving down the street, hey, I don't live here. Hey, neighbors, taking your trash out. No, you just sneak in. You enjoy your home, and you come here. Augusta's not too far from where we live up in the mountains. Augusta's like 2-3 hours away. I'm finding out that there's an entire subculture of folks that have homes in Augusta for one reason. Just to come to the Masters. There are families, there's parents that have homes in the college town where they alumni, like in Ann Arbor. For why? To go to the home football games. And they don't rent these homes out. They don't put strangers in their beds. So, but if you look at those four areas, all of those territories start popping up in your head. Oh, Key West, Hilton Head, Vail, Pinehurst. So where these categories are, I'll give you a little nugget since you guys are in Orlando. I've done a little homework, and my tail's wagging, guys. There's 1.1 million private homes in the Orlando area, okay? Of the 1.1 million private homes in this area, there are 100,000 homes, now follow this, that aren't lived in, and they're not rented, short-term or long-term. What does that tell you? In this community, there's 100,000 homes that are getaway homes.
Right.
And for me, I look at 10% of that. That would not just crush you. It would suffocate you and wipe out all humanity. You could not handle 10,000 homes.
No.
So let's go with 10% of the 10,000. Now you're at 1,000 homes. Mm-hmm. We've been in business 18 years, and you've heard our story. We only have 45 A-list clients. 45 homes. So now we're at 10,000. Let's go down to 1,000 homes. Okay, let's make that my target. Nope, that'll choke you. Well, let's get down to a tenth of that. Now we're down to 100 homes, and that'll still choke you. That's more than twice our flagship location in 18 years. Mm-hmm. So anyway, without getting into proprietary facets of our business model, of what our revenue streams are, we have 6 revenue streams. That's proprietary. Somebody has to sign an NDA to find out what those are. And how we price a client's home is also very proprietary, because I used to get asked by caretakers, hey, man, I've got a mountain accent. And I don't
realize that's not bad.
How much did they pay you for that house? And I used to just say, oh, this much. And they're like, oh, and I was giving away because, a Coca-Cola bottle, if you price it right, people are going to buy it. If it's too cheap, they ain't going to buy it. If it's too expensive, they ain't going to buy that Coca-Cola. So if you get the price right, so that's proprietary. But I'm really excited. I just found this out a week ago. There's 100,000 homes, according to the tax assessment. I don't know how Chat got the information, but I don't care. 100,000, that's enough to work with.
Yes.
I can pare that down to a territory. I think Orlando easily could probably... So you got some things going on in Orlando. You have golf courses out the wazoo, and I don't know where the wazoo is, but I know you got golf courses out the wazoo, and you have lakes.
Right.
So on the shorelines of all these lakes, that's where it's not the greatest thing to live just off the beach. You want to live on the beach, or you want to live on the shoreline.
Well, and in addition, in Orlando, you got the parks, and there are people that are Disney fanatics.
I have found out that there are entire neighborhoods that cater to homeowners that don't rent these homes out. They just want a home here when they come bring the grandkids to Disney. So you factor in, oh my goodness, theme parks, famous theme parks, then you've got another whole subcategory of where our business model will work really well.
So you currently have 4, 5 locations?
We franchised at the very end of COVID, and almost immediately through a broker, our Charleston team showed up on the radar. They parachuted in. They didn't know anybody or anything in Charleston. almost then, and now I'm going to go into the organic because I'm really interested at this season in my life. I'm 66 and got a lot of fuel in my tank, but I'm really ready to ramp up our growth. But we awarded the Ponte Vedra North to Atlantic Beach as a territory to the Inland Coastal Waterway to our second franchisee. But that husband and wife really developed some pretty serious health problems that was really, really sad because they were going like gangbusters. And so we're in the process, hopefully, of reselling that territory. So that was our second. They caught the vision. And now we've opened up, there's a real beautiful community called Highlands in Highlands, North Carolina. And I've found out what's above stupid money. It's a phrase, it's a word I don't use, but you can fill in the blank. So Highlands is at a totally different financial stratosphere, and we just opened up Property Stewards Highlands. And then there's Lake Oconee is another lake in Georgia, and there's a Ritz-Carlton on that lake. So let that sink in a second. Ritz-Carlton's not going to put a Ritz-Carlton just on any lake.
Right.
And that's Property Stewards Lake Oconee, and we just opened up that territory. So that's 4. We have another gentleman who's in the trades. He is in pest control, and he doesn't want to do pest control. He's checked off all our boxes. His financing is about to all finish up.
Nice.
And his territory will include a really cool private golf course community called the Currahee Club. If you know sports, John Schmaltz helped build it. He's a Cy Young, a winner, and Hall of Fame.
Pitched for the Braves. Yep.
He started that golf course neighborhood, but then his territory also includes the north end of Lake Hartwell. So you've got a gated community and golf and water. And so there's a lake called Lake Tugelo that feeds Lake Hartwell. And so his territory is probably going to be called Property Stewards Tugelo. So there's four territories. I don't have any gun at my head telling me we need to see this many more units. I hate that word. That's so sales.
Yeah.
But I don't have anybody pressuring me that by the end of the year we're going to have this many more territories. I understand the value of getting the right franchisees early as your validators.
Right.
So I'm not in a hurry. I wouldn't mind being in a growth, exponential growth like you guys. Mm-hmm. But I'm blessed. My wife and I are blessed. We have what we need in life, so I'm not motivated by money. So what am I motivated by? Well, if I can look, our sweet spot is 30 to 50, not limited to that age group, but if I can look at a young woman or a young man that are kind of in that age group and know that I can tell them how to never fill out a vacation request form ever again, or maybe they're okay with their pay, but they hate their culture, and they're wanting an exit. I listen for pain, and that's what wakes me up in the morning is, hey, we did it. I started with a $499 pressure washer, and people started trusting me. And now today we have a portfolio of A-list clients that are, sometimes we go to their weddings. We're going to be back in Orlando in about 6 weeks to one of our A-list clients' weddings, a daughter's wedding. We go to their funerals.
We find that it's not, the money's great. We all want to make money. We all want to make sure that we are eating and living indoors, right? But for us, we want to provide a solution for the community that needs us. For us, drywall repair is a need that you don't need until you need us. And so we want to find owners that want to provide a solution for a needed problem in their area. So if you found a niche that is a huge need, these owners of these getaway homes, that's a new term for me that I love.
Yeah, I like that too.
It's a pain point for them. And so people are motivated by really two things, typically pleasure or pain, right? So if you can figure out how to modify their pain or give them pleasure, you're going to make some money doing that. So I love this whole concept because if you want to benefit somebody, price does become irrelevant. And it's not about gouging people. It's just about giving the value so they can take care of this pain point. So finding people that want to be the solution, that to us is what we call the beat your chest moment. Like, we are proud that we can walk into someone's home that has had a devastating flood and we can make that home look brand new again, right? That is a beat your chest moment, not just for the owners like we, but all my employees. They look back at their project and kind of goes, I did that. That to me is the motivation. So a lot of the owners that we're getting, they're just people who want to provide solutions and be that problem solver in their area. So,
Yeah, and they literally become part of the fabric of their community.
Well, if you come to our office, and our franchise model does not require, again, a brick and mortar, because your clients never come. They never see the warehouse. They never see your house.
Right.
They don't want to see your house. But as the franchisor, we have really cool office space and a very historic. It's the second oldest building in our town, right downtown. But if you come to our lobby, I built a shelf out of heart pine, 1940s barnwood, and it's a shelf about the size of the palm of your hand. And on that shelf in our lobby, its sole purpose on the planet is to support a single bottle of Tylenol, because we take your pain away.
Love that.
And that's the short version of we are your eyes, ears, and hands when you can't be. And so that Tylenol is there. And when we have one of those days that we don't schedule meetings on Mondays because Mondays are hard enough. So when we have a Monday on a Tuesday and we're trying to put out this fire and we're trying to solve this riddle for this client, and this client's just changed their itinerary. They're coming in a week from now instead of a month from now. I just tell the team, go back out in the lobby and look at the bottle of Tylenol. That's why we are here, to take their pain away.
Yeah, really good.
And I love listening to podcasts. I listen to a lot. I listen to you guys now. I'm president of y'all's fan club.
Oh.
And, when you listen to podcasts, it's so amazing. You glean stuff, but I no longer buy in. Paradigms are really, really big with me. And I no longer buy into find your why. What is your why? And this is not original. Jefferson Fisher's a really great podcaster, and he's I think I'm remembering right. He's the one that said it. It's not about your why. Every why gets back to something even more foundational, and it's a who. There's a who attached to every why. And so who am I getting up for every morning? What motivates me? What's the gas in my tank? And it's really not the why. It's not at all. It's the who. Who has a home that they didn't buy this home to onboard more pain. They didn't buy this home except maybe for an escape, and we call it a getaway. I don't care if you're living in a single wide and you got tattoos everywhere, and I got tattoos, and you drive a really old car, you still get away to Myrtle Beach. It's kind of the Gatlinburg of the ocean. Or you may be in the C-suite and your compensation package is beyond what we can imagine. You still do something that the single wide trailer person does. They still get away. And how you get away is really amazing. And I believe that rest is a weapon. And so our client homes, we get to steward these homes and the property. I mean, we're looking for trees that could be, we live in a national forest. We're looking for trees that could be a threat to that house.
Yeah.
So we don't just take care of the bones of the home. We sometimes, and a lot of our homes come with boathouses. And so we're stewarding their property, but it's the sacredness of honoring the things that they value that they don't get to see a lot.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, Mark, listen, fabulous you being here. I just cannot wait to see the trajectory and the growth that you're going to have.
Oh, it's a great business model.
Curious if people want to get a hold of you to learn more about franchising and this model, something caught their ear. What's the best way to get hold of your team?
The easiest thing is propertystewards.com. If they can just remember that, it's the fastest way. We own those words. We own the domain. We own our slogan. We own our artwork in black and white, so nobody can pirate it in some other color, which is legal.
Yeah.
And we also own the .com. So, folks, I'm so thankful that you guys would ask, but probably the easiest answer is propertystewards.com. And then they go to our website, and we've got a whole dedicated franchise website for our brand as well. But that's probably the easiest.
Nice. Okay. Very good.
Well, I know it was a bit of an effort for you to come to Orlando. I didn't expect that. We're honored that you did. And I just wanted to say thank you for being with us on the podcast today.
Yeah, thank you.
You guys are crushing it as podcasters, and just keep up the good work.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We'd like to thank you for listening to the Holeinthewall Business Podcast with Bill and James. We'd love for you to join our Facebook group and keep the conversation going. If you'd like to learn more about us and our business, check us out at holeintthewall.com. If you'd like to learn more about how to start a Hole in the Wall franchise, go to holeintthewallfranchising.com.